Hi guys, this is ChewOnThis, your go-to podcast for thought-provoking discussions. Hi guys, thanks for joining us for the latest episode of ChewOnThis. As always, you got myself, Will, aka Mr. Gigs, joined by Martha, Az, and Monique. All right, guys, what we talking this week? Actually, I think it's my topic, isn't it? I think it's my topic. So I was thinking about prenups. Why do women get offended by prenups?
Is that your question?
Wait. What?
You fell for that.
Oh.
Maybe just get
Will, is that how
coffee.
you're coming out the gate?
Wait a minute. No. We ain't gonna be doing all of this today. I don't have
That's the
any.
question.
No. Prenups. Like
Question.
last time I checked, was it only women who be out here getting prenups?
Shout out just
I said offended though. I said offended.
Oh, well, so it's only women that are offended by prenups.
Are they not?
No. Is it only women? So are we going to talk about prenups in general, or are we going to be doing this sexism thing?
All right, you know what? Let's take it a higher level, and we'll talk about prenups in general first, and then we can talk about why women are offended by them, right?
And then we will talk about why men are offended by them too.
If we've got time for that, we can cover that too.
No, let's cover it. I'm up for it.
What do you not think of prenups?
I think they're a waste of time. I'll never get a prenup.
As in, you never sign a prenup, or you never ask someone to sign?
I'll never sign a prenup, and I'll never be in a prenup because I trust in the word love. I love love.
Do you find it offensive?
I don't find it offensive. I just don't believe in it. So if I'm with you, if I've come into a situation with a few bags, I'm happy to share my bags with you.
Wait. When you say you don't believe in it, what does that mean, man? It's like it's a legal document. So what's that?
Okay, but it's not a legal document. I don't believe in it. Do you know what I mean? But like my thing is, whether it is this or not, I don't feel I need to have one in my relationship. My relationship doesn't come with terms and conditions.
But is that because of the relationship that you're in?
No, pause. It doesn't. I'm saying it in general. I'm saying if I came with the bag, yeah, and I've decided to marry you and make you my lifelong partner, I don't see the need why I need to come with terms and conditions. Yeah. So I'm not saying to you in Mexico on the beach saying to you, I love you, so much, I'll get married to you, but we've got to sign a prenup. It's not romantic. I'm about love story.
So a question now. Do you see any worth in a prenup? Any worth? So let me change it a little bit, yeah. So let's say, right, like, you know, you're killing right now, yeah. You're killing. You're making good moves. Life is good. You're setting up your family, right, for the future, yeah.
Yeah.
You got your kids now. Anything you obviously touch, like anything you're kind of working on, your kids are gonna inherit that, yeah.
Yeah.
So now your kids, then they're gonna find their partners, right? Mm-hmm. Naturally, obviously, like, yeah, you want them to marry for love and stuff like that. But on the other side, yeah, you want to protect your family, yeah. So in that circumstance, like, your daughter's got some change, or like you know, whatever. Then family inheritance. Once she gets married, yeah. Whoever's there has got access to that, innit?
Hero, yeah.
Would you have any concern on that? Or would you just be like, oh yeah, look, it's all love, boom, 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 like, don't worry, man? And then, you know what I'm saying? Would you be taking
on that level? I hate you saying, yeah, but the level of it is, that's the decision for her to make, isn't it? Do you get what I'm saying? I can advise her. Maybe you want to protect the family wealth and all that. Yeah, I can advise it to her, right? Because obviously this is our legacy in terms of the Levies. But in terms of her decisions, in terms of going forward with that, if she's got 5 million inheritance and she wants to get married to Mr. Harry, and he takes 2.5 and he goes by his way, yeah, that's her problem. Don't come to me for another 2.5. It's like you have to make decisions for yourself. But for me personally,
Yeah.
If I'm getting married to somebody
Mhm.
and I'm up, I'm not prenuping it because it takes away the romantics.
Is this week 2 of you not making me agree with Aaron?
You
No,
lot
it's
are
not
on a
even a
rock.
agreement thing. It's just more of a thing of like, I just don't. I've never even when I see all these men, when I hear my brethren that saying, for example, Jeff Bezos and that, them big, them big billionaires have these crazy situation. Not going to say crazy, but these situations where they break, where they have to divorce their missus, and they've got to give away a lot of give away half their money. Yeah, Jeff Bezos is worth about, I don't know, 10 billion anyway, yeah? Him losing 5 bill ain't a problem to him. He can still go by range tomorrow. So really and truly, yeah, if she's been a part of that journey, looking after the house, I'm assuming, doing the flipping school run while you're out here sending parcels out. You get what I'm saying? Give her a light little 5 billion in it because you've got 10.
What if she hasn't been doing that?
Huh?
What if she hasn't been doing that?
But she's been there for the ride though. So she's
What if she hasn't though?
What do you mean she hasn't been there?
So if
If she
you
hadn't
got
been
like
there, then she wouldn't be entitled to that money. Part of
That's what I'm saying.
a
So
divorce
I can't get
settlement.
married to you. I can't get married to you. I can't. No. I can't get married to a woman. Say I'm up to 10 million. Yeah.
Mhm.
If I get married to a woman off the back of that, and she's like, yeah, cool. A year later, I want a divorce. She ain't seen my bread because I ain't been with you long enough. I had that people before you got here. If I've got the bag, if I haven't got the bag and I've got the bag while I'm with you in 2 years,
yeah.
then you can get the bag because you've been in the process of me securing the bag. But then, like, you can't just marry me because of my bread. That's what a lot of these women are doing. Not a lot of what women are doing. A lot of what you see now is that a lot of these young girls or women are going with these older brothers, yeah, because they've got the bag. And they're getting his brother to chop the pea, chop, whatever. When it comes down to the man dropping dead, they're not seeing the money anymore. The money's gone elsewhere. And this is the thing. Like, so for me, conclusion wise, I'm going on a tangent. I don't feel that a prenup is worthwhile in my relationship. I don't think it's too much T's and C's. I said I love loving it. I'm getting done with one need to marry you. Yeah, it means I'm willing to share what I have with you with no conditions. With no conditions. These cashews, if you want half, you can have half.
All right, ladies, who wants to go first? Mon, prenup.
I think when I was younger, I was really opposed to them, to be fair. It was a case of, what's the point? Well, I just don't like the idea of caveating what takes place after you've made your best effort to be together, you've built a life together, and now you have to separate and do what's fair. A lot of them tend to, a lot of them that I've seen or been publicized tend to be detrimental to the female more than anything else. And I've never really understood why anyone would be okay with a good heart signing it. But then also, I'm not a millionaire. Now, if I'm a millionaire and my husband swoops in and he's semi-millionaire, it makes sense for me to protect my assets. And especially since these males ain't loyal, I need to protect myself such that if me and my children end up having to start again, then at least, we're not going back to square one, we're going to square 7 rather than from the 10 we were at. As I'm older, I think it's to each their own. I see the financial benefit. It's an adult conversation to be had. If the worst happens, what happens to our family? Whether you have children or not, when you come together, you become family. What happens to our family? How is our family divided? And sometimes, unfortunately, you can't allow human beings to do their best interpretation of that. Because we know when people are hurt and when people are angry, the same person who was your best friend becomes a demon you've never understood. And they're coming out for blood. Now, in those instances, a prenup is what protects everybody involved. But it has to be fair. So once again, it's a case by case basis. I would love them not to be needed. I would love human beings to do better, but they don't.
When you say fair, you mean like what, like 50-50?
Not even 50-50. It doesn't have to be 50-50. What's fair is decided between two people. You two
Okay.
have been in life together. If you've done 20 years together, one person has been a housemaker this entire time, while the other person's been able to be the biggest boss that they can be because everything else has been looked after. They come home to an ally. They come home to their teammate, someone who's raising their children, looking after everything. What, just because she didn't end up in the office, she doesn't. She's now useless and without worth because your children are grown. I wish you would. God don't like ugly. Be fair. But then these are the sort of conversations you should be able to have as two human beings who love or were in love with each other. It's just doing right. It's doing the right thing. But when people are breaking up and people have their feelings involved, I very rarely see them do the right thing.
And
Well,
that's the
that's I guess that's the point, right? It's like it's I guess on the surface, right? A prenup is just it's just a piece of paper, right? Until it comes into effect, no? Because it doesn't really like if you're married to somebody, huh?
You don't just get to a prenup. Before we put the clauses in and the stipulations and everything, someone had to start generating this. When you're thinking about if the worst takes place, if you marry me for between this year and this year, you get this amount. Between this year and this year, you get this amount. If you manage to make it to this bit and don't get rid of me, now you're entitled to this and this and this. That's what I'm referring to. And it's not just a piece of paper, because those are conversations. Those are mentalities, those are complete standpoints. Before we even do this, before we come together as one, here are my stipulations for when we have to be two again.
And so you're not against.
I would just prefer. I personally do not see myself ever signing or asking someone to sign a prenup. But then also, I'm okay with someone going missing.
You know what it is? It's love, isn't it? We just want to love. I don't love with contracts. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I love about contracts. Because at some point, yeah, it's a case of worst case, now we're gonna bust up in it, right? And you should build your relationships on that situation. Feel me? So my thing is this: you just have to just let love be. Just let love be. Everyone's happy. Just love. The word love.
You're getting into that Valentine's mood early, boy.
Bullying.
Aaron's on the updating these persona to Mr. Lover. Needs to know that I'm a lover, really.
Rebranding.
No, but there's time for there's times to be like this thing for me is an important one because like as I said, I don't believe in if you're as you mentioned, Monique, like from if I'm outside collecting, doing what I'm doing, Bezos, sending parcels, yeah, and you're at home looking after the lights and that, the garden, and I come home, all I've got to do is come home and switch on your Young Sky Sports and that, and carry my day. That's been managed, isn't it, by someone at home. I can't then just sweep away and say, look, we're getting divorced. I'm taking all of it away from you, yeah, right? And you can still do that, but with none of the sources that come with it. It doesn't make any sense.
Agreed. Or it's at the very least the sign of a certain type of wickedness.
A young million, get me, yeah, whatever. Just give something a minute.
No, that's the question, right? Is it? It's like if you say fair, or if you say, I mean, if you're worth 100 million, for example, is saying like it's 2 million? Are you being like, is that being unfair?
That's stupid. You know why it's stupid, yeah? Because people complain. Look, 100 million pounds is a lot of fucking money, yeah, right? And you're meant to tell me that you can't sacrifice 20 of that? Yeah, minimum.
Okay, but then we get into the human emotions of it's not whether or not you can, it's whether or not you want to. That's the problem. Yeah. Because let me ask you a question. Let's just say she's been with you shooting in the gym, but then she decided, nah, forget this thing. You see that young PT you got her? That's the new wave. That's where she's going. You can have the kids. She's been in this, but she's just decided this ain't for me no more. I want to go do me. I want to live my life. It's about the young things. You still want to give
Cool.
her 20,
Go on.
want to give her 20 million. You still want
You wanna give her 20 million?
Listen, I'll reel that 20 million real quick. You'll blow it in a hot second, so I'm good. Take the 20 mil, piss off, go with young PT, let your bank account, and then you and then we go in it. It's fine.
Well, I don't know, man. You sound like you're saying that emotion free.
No, but it's logistical though. If I've been able to make £100 million,
Yeah.
right, I actually be able to make £200 million, yeah. So me giving you a young 20 is light. It's light.
Would you give?
Yourself because you probably have no financial acumen to make that 20 to 40. Yeah,
you don't know that. You don't know that. She could be a secret G.
Oh,
The
I'm
only
making-
thing
I'm
she's
making
got
a-
that's slightly morally ambiguous.
Yeah. But I'm making some assumptions here. Let me make my assumptions. I'm gonna give you 20 million, yeah? You're gonna blow that quickly on Chanel, Hermes, Birkin bags, yeah? And you're gonna be broke again. Then you're gonna go to court and say, oh, can we do a court order for 50 grand a week or 50,000 pound a month? No, bitch. You had the 20 mil. You got bags.
Oh, those
I'm not sure that's how they even work. The divorces work, you know.
you know, it's mad as well, yeah. It's the 20 mil, yeah. But that's not including the children's cut, man.
The children, the maintenance fee.
The children the children are the ongoing expense, bruv. Like, yeah, man, I need 200k a week or whatever it is.
Who is it that had to pay the? I think it was Dre or someone had to pay something like 50 or 100 bags a month.
Yeah,
something crazy for their use.
Yeah,
but it's fair enough to Drake's work, not Drake. Dr. Dre's owns flipping beats, so he's obviously got a little bit of money in it. Yeah, so I guess 100 grand to a month ain't a big deal, is it?
you know what? Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's all relative though. It's all child support, isn't it? So you think of it like this, yeah. The CSA situation in the UK, when you have kids, or wherever it is, you've got to pay child support. It's all relative to the industry, the amount of money you earn in it. So I guess for them guys there, when they're earning these big lumps of money, the billions and millions of pounds, because we see in the news, it says, oh, so-and-so's got to pay £100,000 a month. Yeah, we go, yeah. But generally, if you work back them numbers, it's the equivalent of me giving £10 a month. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's the exact same thing. It's just amazing. It's just because it's bigger zero, it's got more zeros at the end of it. It seems more extreme. But to them, man, it's a piss in the water.
I don't know, man. I'm not sure they'll see it like that, man. Marth.
Now, this is personally, so like what I'm talking, everyone to their own in it. Like Aaron said, all of this stuff here is this stuff that we're talking about here are personal decisions, isn't it? Everyone decide, right? So I'm not on a it's right, it's wrong, it's good, it's bad, because these are your own personal choices. But for me personally, I'm never signing the prenup.
I love it.
I'm never signing the prenup. We're not getting married. The relationship is over. You're going this way and I'm going that way. Like that's what we're doing wrong. Because like I said, I don't agree in the group chat. I don't agree with preparing for failure. Doesn't mean like I don't mean that as preparing for failure as in we have contingencies, right? In life, you contingencies, so you can, I don't know, I'm saying in a relationship that we want to work, I don't agree with get out. Like some people don't. Personally, I think today the reason why we have more divorces and more failures and more broken stuff is because we are so quick to see the exit. People don't understand the work that it takes to have a relationship. Added to that, love is overrated. People don't actually understand what love is. Disney created love. The love that everyone's talking about, Disney created that. That's not real. That's not real life love. All of that because there's going to be times where I love you, but I don't like you. Yeah. And you've got to get through that. At that moment in time, you've upset me, you've annoyed me, you've angered me, but we still have responsibilities for one another. That's what love is. Like love is actually going through those hard times and getting past it and understanding that we're going to have hard times. It's not all fancy dancy all the time. And whether people realize it or not, when you have a get out, right? When there's a way out, just naturally, you know, even if you think about your body, fight or flight, these are natural things to do. So when you have a get out, and your body, your whole subconscious responsibility is to use the path of least resistance. So the divorce means I can get out of this. The prenup means I can get out of this. And I'm not saying that we stay I'm not saying that we stay in abusive relationships. Not talk about those nonsense extremes. Yeah. I'm saying just everyday life, there's ups and downs, there's highs, there's low. If you talk to people who've had genuinely successful relationships, they will tell you there was a point where I thought we weren't going to make it. We nearly got divorced. We even separated, or they will tell you that there were these challenging parts.
The battles of
right, you're seeing the end
tribulations.
result now, and you think, wow, it's amazing, but you don't understand the work that went into it. Yeah, and I don't know how many of you have. I've got friends who we go back 30 years, right? And so I've seen them through relationships. I've got friends who were in 20-year relationships, and I remember when we were young and they were battling, and I'd be like, what? Or do you know what I'm saying? Both sides, if it was guys or girls, I'm like, why are you still with that chick? And now they've got like the best relationships.
Yeah.
But they went through some really crazy times. So for me, I just think, how are you preparing to say, if we ever break up, this is what's going to be happening? Nah, let's create something at the beginning of our marriage that says we ain't never going to break up. And what is it that we're going to make sure that happens when you feel aggrieved, when I'm not listening to your emotions? Like, who's the person that we're going to talk to get into this relationship when you don't feel listened to? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, when it's an emotional point and all those emotions are high, where's the, who's the family member, who's the church member, who's the psychiatrist, who's the people that we get into our relationship to help us stay in our relationship? Not what's this piece of paper that says, oh, how do we divide assets and do all these things to go our separate ways? Like, it doesn't make sense. That's just for, and these sorts of decisions are important decisions. So as far as I'm concerned, this is what I'm saying is here, right? If I feel, so in the same way, God forbid, we've genuinely tried everything and our relationship hits the fence. If I feel that you are now going to do me dirty, right? Or you can't be trusted, why the hell am I marrying you in the first place? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, if I don't feel like I'm going to be able to trust you, if I don't feel like you're gonna treat me well, this is me coming with good intentions, then why would I marry that person in the first instance? And you know what? You can be a millionaire if you want to be. Be your millionaire. If you feel like you have to ask me for a prenup, don't marry me, babe. Just don't marry me. Fine. I've got no problem with it.
But do you know what I say though? Just to touch on what you're saying there as well, is I think there needs to be some form of, I'm not saying it needs to be, however, I know of someone quite close to me who's going through a situation where they've been with their husband for a few years. And many years since I was like 20. And so now they're going through a situation where it's becoming a bit techie in regards to, like, they're looking to obviously divorce and that now, yeah. But because like he's stubborn and he's like, look, man, I don't want to sell the house and I don't do this, and then she used to kind of say like, cool, like, let's get this thing rolling in the year. She wants to move on and whatever. He's playing hardballs, isn't it? And it makes the situation of that separation longer because, like, whoever in the household, say for him in a situation, he's not really interested in trying to, like, sell the house or divide the assets and work out a plan with the kids. He's all saying, oh no, you get over it, kind of thing. Yeah, he's like, nah, bro, like, I'm looking to sell the house. It's like, nah, but I can't. So if these things are written down in terms of paper, like, once we go through this process, if it comes to this point, this is the process we're taking. But again, it's still kind of saying to Martha's point, you're putting a risk analysis, a risk assessment or something in place for the relationship if it fails. So it's a weird one. I think it's important to have it, but I wouldn't want to have it, if that makes sense.
So I think it's interesting because I get all the points you guys are making, and I think obviously love, if you're going to get married or anything like that, it's, love is quotation marks, the driving factor, right? It's the kind of the principal reason why you're going to get with that person and marry them, etc., right? But as you just described, there's also the practicalities of life. Do you know what I'm saying? And when you've got, if you talk about, if you're looking at like time and how life has evolved and how relationships have evolved and how people have evolved generally, and you talk about different societies as well. So if you look in the context from like Western society or even like in the UK, for example, yeah, like values and what is considered important and all that, that is literally up for grabs daily, right? Whatever you knew yesterday, but tomorrow it will switch it up tomorrow, and then you know whatever your principal stance was, it's wrong today because tomorrow they changed it. Do you know what I'm saying? And so in terms of, you know, for example, what you just described there, that is a scenario where one person is trapped in trapped in something that they can't escape, right? Because of the I guess non-cooperation or kind of stubbornness of someone else. Do you know what I'm saying? So they're at that mercy. When you look at other things like, you know, you prepare a will, for example, yeah, you prepare that will in the same context in the terms of a relationship, right? In your relationship with that person, you prepare a will to say that if something happens to me, this is how I want my estate or whatever it is to be divided, right? You divide it amongst your kids, you tell your wife, you get this, blah, blah. So principally, even though it's not, even though still, let's say both situations are negative situations that you're preparing for, but one is in direct conflict with, or one's as a result of, you know, you divorcing that person, and one like you divorcing that person, so you're leaving that person via divorce, and then the other one is you're leaving that person via death.
One of them's as fella says, man. One of them is inevitable.
Yeah, no, one of them is inevitable, but my point is like you're still doing. They're both negative situations, and you're doing preparations for both, right? And I don't know. I think I don't know if like put it this way. I don't think I'm not. I don't know if I'm for or against. I'm not really for or against it like that. I just feel like the way life is, I think there's other factors to take into consideration now. Do you understand? Like there's so much, like when you look at marriage, like we kind of hold on to our concept of marriage based on historical and you know, parents and all this other stuff, right? But when you talk about the grit that it takes to keep a relationship, as Martha was mentioning, right? That is becoming the scarce part. Do you know what I'm saying? And the exit mentality is becoming the predominant part. Do you know what I'm saying? Like getting married is becoming more of a tick box exercise than a lifetime choice, right? And so in that kind of setting, you've got a lot more there's a lot more risk involved in that, and there's a lot more misplacement of let's say negative emotions, right? So in any situation, once emotions involved, the first thing most people tend to do is look at the tool set they've got, right, to hurt the other person with. And in those scenarios,
could be a part of that.
it could be, but I'm just saying in those scenarios, you're always going to look at everything. So some people decide to use the children, some people decide to use their estate, some people, you know what I'm saying? There's weapons each person or various people have at their disposal that they will utilize in a negative situation. And so maybe to avoid that, having or considering a situation where this is how things are divided in that scenario, if you have that conversation while everything's cool, while everyone's like, you know, still got their senses, it might be more of a productive conversation than try to sort that stuff out when things are on fire, when everyone's like, right, my emotions are high.
I don't know if that's the conversation you could have though. So you mean to tell me that on a random Tuesday evening, you're having dinner, oh babe, you know what, yeah, I was just thinking, you know, just in case we break up tomorrow, yeah, we've got to work out the best way to split the bomber clock thing. Like, it's not a conversation.
No, do you know what? No, I think to a degree, I agree with that to a level, as in, I think you can have sensible conversations with people. Like emotion's a big thing. So when that emotional part isn't there, I think you can have sensible conversations with people. To your point, Will, around the fact that, you know, the basis of what marriage is, you know, based like we place it on very old school traditional values, and there's lots more that are happening now. There's so many other things caught up in it. This is why I said it's a very personal thing. And I actually think it's for the two people that are coming together to decide what marriage means for you. right? So I can decide that this is what marriage means for me, regardless if society, okay, have watered that down, regardless if all these other people are doing it. This is my value. Even if people have lost their values, these are my values, and it is for me to search and find somebody else who shares those values, right? That's what I mean by going through that process. And I think we can talk about, I think you can have those conversations. When I broke up with one of my exes, we literally, like, it was it no one was at a point where you just realized we were going in different directions. It wasn't even a case of we don't like each other, we don't even love each other, we're not on a point, but we just realized that this wasn't it. Like, so emotionally, it was a very challenging place because we were like best friends. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you're like best friends, but you've come to a point where you see, like, we're both looking at this thing, seeing a diversion. It was like, rah, we're going in different spaces, we're not here. It's hard, all the emotions and everything's a part of it. But we were able to go through that. We were able to talk through that entire process
And figure it
sensibly
out.
about how we separated our lives, because we were very much together within our lives. So I'm not disputing the fact. I think there are conversations that you can have, right? Like, and that's what I mean. I think it's the same type of conversation. And to be fair, it wasn't a prenup conversation, which is what I'm saying. We had conversations like, listen, like, it was jokes things. It was like, I can be fire in it. And when you've now switched the thing in my head, and my head starts, and like, you've connected to that person, there's going to be a problem, right? So we're both gonna let each other know when we've connected to the crazy person. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so that we don't piss each other off, so that we don't get there, or so we know how to communicate with each other. That's what I mean. I'm simply saying I agree with you 100%. Like, when we are not emotional, let's talk about how we would deal with one another when we are emotional, when we are upset, when we feel aggrieved. I don't think there's any problem with those things. But to say, okay, but how are we now going to dissolve our relationship? I do not see how you believe that your number one priority is going to fight as much as possible for your relationship to work if you've got together on the onus of, these are the stipulations of dissolving our relationship. I think it's very different. And that's what I'm saying, something else other than the prenup. Let's put all of these things in place about how we keep our relationship together. Maybe when you go on that journey, you might realize that actually, I'm not willing to put in all that work. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you might think, when we're going through this journey to say, how do we make sure we stay together forever? You might be thinking, oh, actually, no, she wants to do that and I'm not going to do this. In that discussion, we might realize, no, we're not on the same page. Let's not even go there in the first place. Or while we are on the same page, and let's make sure these things work. But how I very much believe in the power of what we believe and where we want to go with something. And I just think if you've laid the foundation of something based on it failing, I just don't think that's a solid foundation.
It's interesting because I don't know. I still feel like, I still think that there is some merit in it, right? Because again, like, so when the part you mentioned around going into a relationship and then think about breaking up, right? You don't really, right? If you're technically, when you get to the stage of marriage, right? That's your relationship going to a next level. Do you know what I'm saying? And that level has multiple implications, both legally, both from a child perspective, both from the rights of each person, etc., etc. So it's quite different from just being with somebody, right? When you're just with somebody, when you guys break up, each their own, and everyone goes their separate ways, whatever it is, right? You're there's no legal implications there. Whereas once you're married, there are legal ramifications that will affect both parties in one way or another. Do you know what I'm saying? So again, having whether a prenup is the right I guess the right I don't know, document format or whatever it is to kind of resolve that. The point is that going back to the point of having again, grown up discussion in because, okay, prime example, a lot of most of the time people get divorced. They don't get divorced amicably, right? But most of the time it's like some shit went wrong and somebody said, look, I'm out of it, kind of thing, right? Or I don't, do you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's hostility. Do you know what I'm saying? In that environment, once you throw in, you know, whatever that cocktail is already, and then you throw the kids into that, right? You've literally got a whole load of mess. And it's mostly the kids who kind of are impacted by that mess. Do you understand? And you guys being the adults, you're up in your emotions, and the kids are obviously bearing the brunt of being pulled left, right, and center, and etc., etc. Do you know what I'm saying? So having your affairs kind of organized in some ways, right? One, it lets everybody knows it lets everyone knows where they stand, right, in a given circumstance, right? And divorce is the worst set of circumstances. Same way, like if you looked at it from a I'm married to you now point of view, divorce is our worst case scenario. This is the scenario, whatever. Yeah, me dying is, you know, well, it's another scenario. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just no, but you don't hate, you won't, if I guess divorce is the worst case scenario because of the emotions of the negative emotion associated with it, right? Because you might be divorcing like out of anger. So, yeah, right. When you die, yeah, it's sadness, right? But you're not there's no spite in anything that happens after that point. Do you understand that? So me distributing my assets and saying this is how I want things to be broken up, I'm doing that from a place of love.
You think divorce is worse than death?
No, I'm saying in terms of the emotions associated with divorce.
Even you think divorce is worse
than
sadness?
I think it can be. I think it can be
sadness. When you die, if you're married to somebody that you love and whatever, yeah, and like,
do you
and
think
then that
death doesn't stay with you forever?
No, what I'm trying to say to you is that what you're dealing with, you're dealing direct in that situation. You're dealing with directly death. So you're the way their estate or your assets and everything else is left, right, by that person who's died. You're not battling against their emotions or something like that. Do you understand? You're literally dealing with the fact that they've died, right? But you know that they've looked after you, they looked after your kids, everything's taken care of. Whereas divorce is,
but they may not have. They could have been.
No, I mean they might have not, but I'm just saying, like divorce is more about battle lines drawn, right? Because it's not amicable. Most of the time, it's like someone said,
I get what you mean.
And so it's a war thing. I mean,
it's war. It's war. Like I get that. I get it. It's war and it's intense. But
my point is, it's messy, right? And if it was organized, it might be a lot easier for everyone involved.
No, I get that. But it's messy. That's messy. But I disagree that the emotion of the mess behind divorce and the emotion of death, that death is a less of an emotion. I disagree.
No. I think you misread it. Not in that sense. As in, when you're dealing with death, you're dealing with, like, I was going to say positive emotions, but you're not dealing with hostility. It's not a hostile.
I get that it's not hostile, but I still think
so it's a different emotion you're tapping into.
It's a different emotion, but it can be just as extreme. I mean, people die literally of heartbreak because people die, and one of the biggest things a lot of the time, particularly moving in the elderly, but when your loved one goes, that's why people then die so soon afterwards, because
I agree.
The person they've loved is gone. So I think the severity, it may not be messy, it may not be as like. And that's a big part of this, right? It may not be messy and it may not be as obvious because it's not in the face and you've seen it, but I think the emotions attached, right.
No, definitely. I think it's the messy part that it takes away from, right? It's everyone knows where they stand because the war's done and everything like that, and it's if there is one.
That's very much assumption that there's a will, and we know that the majority of people don't have wills.
Well, that's what's interesting, right? So,
and this is also to listeners. Sorry, a lot of people don't have life insurance. Now, my people's life insurance. This is also about legacy. Yeah, life insurance is also how we set our children up for legacy. So, all of you who don't have life insurance, please go and get life insurance. Please.
I second that message.
It's Monique approved.
It's a what?
It's Monique approved.
And it goes for, do you know what? On all jokes aside, particularly after everything that happened over the Christmas period, the amount of times we've seen people die and having to do, what do you call it? What's those pages called?
GoFundMe's.
GoFundMe pages. Come on, we shouldn't have to know.
That's
Like,
just greed, though. That's
it's
just
not greed.
greed.
No. It's not greed. Some people just literally don't have all of that stuff set up, right? So let's have life insurance so that the people
What's the cost of life insurance? How much does it go for?
it all varies.
What's the like?
There's no, it can't. It depends on your assets, right? If you've got your home and it's 250,000 and you want to cover your 250,000, that's different to if you just want to make sure your kids are available. That's different to it's like there's this whole average thing. Like it's either way, either way. Like do your life insurance so that your loved ones can send you off nicely, so you don't end up in a public grave, or someone doesn't have to do a GoFundMe for you. Because the reality of it is however much that life insurance costs, you lot are wasting money somewhere.
That's funny. My auntie, on the topic of life insurance, she goes like, yeah, don't worry about my funeral costs. Yeah, it's covered. Like, you're good.
But it's not. But do you know what? It's not only funeral costs. People don't understand.
I know, but she's just saying in terms of that, because a lot of people, to your point about having to borrow beggars still to fund a funeral, saying, look, my funeral will be lit because the bag's secured.
But also, life insurance is insurance for your children. Make sure you and who are your partners have life insurance for each of your children, so that when you go, your children also have money, right? Because then that's your legacy. That's that as well. They also have access to that. So that is also something. Not only the cost of burying you, but also passing on things. Like, this is what we need to be doing. That's what we need to be doing. When we're going to be getting together, let's talk about what's the legacy that we're building together. What's the process? What are your thoughts on this? Not okay, so when we separate, how we separate in the house, where we're going, what we're doing. Like, historically, and the thing that gets me, which is why I don't get involved in misogynistic stuff, all that stuff, I'll talk about it. Like I said, at a macro level, I'll talk about it and I'll tell you about it. At a micro level, I'm just not effing with you motherfuckers. I'm just not. I'm just not going to get involved with you. Like, I'm seriously not. Do you understand? Like, I hold a particular type of a value, right? And at the end of the day, like, I'm coming, like, not that I think we have to, but I'm coming into this relationship with my own shit. So in the very first instance, I'm coming with my own shit. And I advise all women, you need to be financially independent. That doesn't mean that we can't do things, but you need to make sure you're financially independent. So that's what my insurance is. My insurance is that before I do anything, before I have children with a man, before I make home with him, before I do anything, I'm making sure that if that mofo does anything or goes anywhere, does anything, I'm going to be okay financially. Like, that's my insurance. So I'm going to make sure I'm financially independent. That doesn't mean that we can't be together and, have our co-stuff, build together, do whatever it is that we're doing. But along the way, God, I am making sure I am financially independent. So God forbid we do separate. There ain't gonna be, I'm not even fighting you, babe. I'm not fighting you. I'm not fighting you. Whatever you had before me, babe, keep it. Like, honestly, keep it. Whatever we built together, we go separate. We're going to half and we're going to go things. And if you want to go to war with me over that thing, I've got no problem going to war with you. But I'm not going to war with you because I'm going to die without it. I'm going to war with you over principle. We built that together. So we are going to separate it together. If I build that with you, you can have it. Like, I've got zero interest. If we've got children, you're going to look after you're going to pay for your part of the children. Like, it's very simple. It's very simple. That's what I'm coming from. But you would have known that, right? This that I'm telling you now, all of this that I'm talking to you now, I'm telling you, I don't believe in divorce. So please, babe, don't marry me and think you're going to divorce me, because the highly likely is that I will become a widow. I'm going to be a widow because I don't believe in divorce. Till death do us part. Till death.
That's what I'm saying. my point. It's all about love. You can't
Yeah.
love someone and not love them tomorrow. You get me? Obviously, you
Yeah.
can, but
Do you know what I'm saying?
You can't.
But
You can't enter them things. You can't go on the one near that and do all that and then do marriage and then two say, yeah, I got married to you, but you know what? You've been it, Like you've gone past a few stages, brother, to get to that point of like the marriage and that. You should at some point down the line, before you went into the shop before you went to Tiffany to buy the diamond, before you even got to the beach to do the one knee thing, before you even said, will you, yeah? You crossed a few parts in it before you got to the point of the wedding. You even planned the wedding, yeah? You then walked down the aisle and you even could have got to the wedding and be like, this ain't for me, You lot, sorry, I'm going to call it off. You walked down the aisle. You then said, I do, and exchanged the rings. And then you can tell me, this ain't for me. Get the fuck out of here, man. You've gone past too many.
You know what it is, yeah? You know those people, yeah, who like, it's really like, there's so many times I've seen it where people will be like just together, yeah, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and they have a nice relationship, sick and all that jazz and whatever. And because for some people, right, wedding, marriage, all that, yeah, again, tick box exercise, right? Some people are passionate about it. Some people just like, yeah, it's on my to-do list. It's like going to school, college, uni, right? It's just something you have to do, part of the journey, innit? And then, bro, they'll be together for like 10 years, 15 years, right? Boyfriend and girlfriend, kids, ting, whatever, bless, right? Bro, they'll get married in the last 5 minutes.
yeah, because
5 minutes after marriage. And then there's
William,
it's
that's
the
that point
prenup.
I'm going to say.
The prenup.
No, it's not a prenup.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, it's not a prenup. But remember, so we've said, marriage is just a piece of paper. It's not. This is the thing, right? It's a level of commitment that's the next level. So with that, when you're boyfriend and girlfriend, there's different levels of stipulation on you than when you become husband and wife, right? Because technically speaking, when you're boyfriend and girlfriend, you've always got to get out. We're just boyfriend and girlfriend. We've not made a commitment. And this is the difference when you actually value the vows that you make, right? We haven't actually made a commitment that says, regardless, for better or for worse, good, bad, up, down, sickness, health, till death do us part. We haven't got all that additional stuff. So whenever things happen, you've kind of got, I can leave. Subconsciously, you've always got, I can leave. But now you've made a public declaration of commitment of forever. Do you get what I'm saying? And sometimes when people don't realize that, both parties come with expectations. Now you're married. So often the things that you would do, like the way you were living every single day, all of a sudden, because we're married, there's a different level of expectation on this thing. These are unspoken things that we don't talk about. So before, when you behave in a particular way, I didn't really care about it. But my expectation was overnight, because you now said for better and for worse, those things were going to change, right? You were going to either be better at this or you're going to stop doing something because of it. And this is the reason why I said we need to be having these, we need to take marriage seriously, like before you get there. And I personally just feel like it's very easy for people to get married because it's easier for us to get out of marriages. And do you understand? Like if you're making a decision, you're doing something that's permanent or something that's going to impact on you, you be very mindful. You check all the boxes. You do everything before you enter into that. But I think
you can get divorced. I think before it used to be divorce used to take like, I'd say like 2, 3, 4, 5 years to get divorced. Yeah. Now it's like you can do it 12 months.
Yeah, but you've got to do a couple of bits and pieces in the meantime to do that. Like you got to show evidence that it's falling apart, innit? Because more time people just use divorce things quick, like I could get out of the jail card and then like flip them like it's monopoly.
I don't know. You don't have to show that anymore. You just
have
to.
Do. You have to show. You've got to show some kind of. You've got to show some kind of.
Like it can take a year, but you still. They'll first send you to mediation and all that stuff.
No. Some of that is being eradicated now. Some of that, I think, as of
you don't have all that.
April. No, it's not all of it's gone. There is a way of getting a much quicker divorce than the previous system.
So I'm saying,
unfortunately, I know of people who have waited for this particular legislation to come through, this change, before they started filing.
Because
Just so they don't get caught up.
I think the whole mediation thing as well, because I think the person I spoke about earlier, they had to do this whole process, go through all of that, and my man didn't turn up. So all these things like that, what you kind of got to do, it kind of shows that, yeah, it kind of puts it into bigger picture and says, all right, this is a genuine case, isn't it?
I think before you used to have to. It used to be a case of to get divorced. You used to get you have to basically distribute blame. Like someone had to be at fault for it to even be a thing to be processed. And I think they've taken that part out where you can have a no fault divorce. I think that's what they call it, basically. And I think that just runs 12. I think it's 12 months, 6 or 12 months. So
whatever it is, innit? I don't care. Just you love to love, innit? Like we ain't out here doing divorces. Yeah, I think it's funny. It's funny thing to say, you know. I think divorce in this day and age has become a bit of a trend. Like being on Instagram. It's all about having a flamboyant wedding, especially in this. I guess the environment of this celebrity culture has kind of made this whole wedding thing a bit diluted, like right now, because like people tend to get married quickly, and all of a sudden they are divorcing, and they get married again, and then they're divorcing, and before you know it, a man had 3 wives in the space of 4 years.
That's long, bruv.
I you know what? Hats off to those women who be able to be having on husband number 5. Can't be hating on them, babe.
If I ever, do you
get Miss Long?
If I ever done it, it's a one-time thing, bro.
One time and done.
One time. That's it.
Really?
Done.
Okay,
100%.
but hold on. Think about that though, right? Because think about how. So imagine now, just imagine now. God forbid, yeah. But you get married, and 2 years later, your husband dies. What? You're not getting married again, no?
Oh no, we never said about him dying. If he died, he wants me to be happy.
No, you said
Let me tell you.
one-time thing.
No, I mean from divorce.
Okay, so same thing. So you mean to tell me you get married now, 2 years later you get divorced, you never get married again?
No, I'm not. Let me tell you why. Yeah,
I'm not doing it again.
Because I've got one relationship left in me. One more. Yeah. If that breaks down, I feel sorry for the female population. Yeah. I've got one more left. And I'm in it now. Yeah. If that breaks down, I feel sorry for females.
Well, you know what? To be fair, I don't know how we're all just agreeing with Aaron like this.
I love it, Aaron, no, wait. That moment there, right? No. All jokes aside, that there is a level of truth that very few men can get to.
What do you mean?
Because it's a level of truth that very few men get to. Because I think, honestly, there's enough men out there, yeah, who are you know those ones who are out there who are they're there because of that. Exactly what that one relationship that they had was done, and now they're hurt out here doing things. Yeah.
You know, it's not really about being hurt. Let me just clarify that part, yeah, because I understand relationships do come to an end. What I'm saying is I've invested a lot, yeah, without getting to mosquito on it, right? And so therefore, I will no longer invest because there's nothing to invest, right? Therefore, only thing I have to invest is my willy.
However you want to look at it, babe. Aaron, however you want to get to the conclusion that that's all you have left, my point is you actually are aware that that's why you're there. Because the rest of those people don't know why they're there.
Right.
Yeah. What's last thoughts, man?
I would love us to be in a world or to operate in a place by which we didn't need prenups. But as you know, human beings be human being. And as such, human beings need to protect themselves against other non-loyal human beings. And it just is what it is. A sad state of events that it's even needed, but I fully understand why it is. Is it for me? No. And there will never be a point, I can never see a point by which my future husband actually looks me dead in my face and says, well, you've got to sign this.
You know what, yeah? I think it's mad because I think when you look at all the things in some ways in the past, yeah, that created the fireworks, right? A lot of it was just pure naturalness about it. Do you know what I'm saying? I think as we're getting into this kind of world of I don't even know what the word is, but there's something unnatural about it where on one hand you're getting all these freedoms to do XYZ, yeah, but on the other hand you have to kind of tick all these boxes to say that you can do something or whatever it is, right? You're not going to be far off, yeah, from a time where I bet you it might not be called prenups, it might be something else, right? A consent form, I don't know, right? It's going to be some kind of thing where the transaction is going to be, before two people can do this, you lot have to sign this, and it's going to be binding. Do you know what I'm saying? It's going to go into that kind of world where that's where everything's going to run in it. But yeah, Marv.
Yeah. So again, it's to the same. I'm still to the same point. And to that point that you've made, William, about it soon it doesn't come to a point where you're gonna have to do something. We've all got choices. We've actually all got choices. So the same way I don't entertain this whole nonsense here that all men cheat and you have to accept it, right? Is the same way I will not be accepting before you get married, you have to do these things. We've got a choice. And I honestly will tap out. I will choose to tap out before I enter into that nonsense. So if it means we come to this point where it means the only way I can get married is with a prenup, looks like I ain't gonna get married because I choose to tap out of that nonsense.
As last words.
Just love, man. Just love. Listen, no prenups. Just love. No terms and conditions. None of that. Just enjoy the woman, the man you're with. If you end up breaking up, it's cool. Just share with the wealth. No drama. Just love though. That's it.
Loving it.
All right, cool, man. We're done, man. All right, guys, thanks for tuning into the latest episode of ChewOnThis. Big shout out to everyone on the panel. Let us know your thoughts about today's discussion. Why do women hate prenups? Are they really as offensive as they sound? Or are they actually just useful tools to separate assets once two people go their separate ways? What if a prenup became mandatory in a relationship? Ladies, would that put you off from getting married full stop? Or would it just be another piece of paper to sign? And fellas, would you actually ask your lady, the person you chose to be with, to sign a prenup? And how about if it was the other way around? Would you sign a prenup if your partner, your wife, asked you to sign a prenup? Or would you find that offensive? Let us know your thoughts at ChewOnThis LDN for both Twitter and Instagram. But for now, for myself and the rest of the team, until next time, we're out.